Hello, welcome to Garden Chronicles. My name is James David, and in today's video, I would like to talk about this very famous plant known as Peace Lily. Here in this plant review, I'm actually exclusively covering on the flowers, which I find them that they are quite difficult to cultivate in my tropical region. Don't get me wrong, this is supposed to be an easy plant, but however, on a long term, they rarely blooms. And I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, as particularly as like myself, I've been keeping some of these plants for so many years. It's all green, but never flowers. So let's talk a little bit more about this particular flowers known as inflorescence. Just to cover a little bit of these basics here, it's known as Spathiphyllum, also known as Peace Lily. This particular one is actually cultivated and grown somewhere nearby my residential area. However, I do not own this particular plant in this video. I must make an emphasis that there are so many different types of Peace Lily that is available with so many cultivars and hybrids. Even to identify this particular specific one, even then, I'm lost for words because there are so many that is available now. What I can say is for the identification purpose, you can actually notice this inflorescence that falls into something like a cobra shape kind of a hood, which is known as a modified leaf. At first, I often thought that it's actually a petal, but it's not. The unique part about it is this rod kind of flower based thing, which is actually a seed pod that is actually in formation. Truth to be told, I do not have much confidence in propagating them using this supposed seed pod because it often comes to a place where it's always sterile. Now, the few tips that I would like to share with you, which I have not tried but I've come across in many of my gardeners friends who mentioned to me that one of the way to induce them for them to actually bloom is to cut off all the matured old leaves from the bottom. That will actually trigger stress to them and sort of like make them spring forth all this inflorescence in a way to force them to create seed pods. I would like to share another beauty here. This particular one is actually the Variegated Peace Lily, and I find that when it comes to variegation, even the flower gives out those kind of this marble-like green and white colors. Another beauty that I'm always admire when it comes to Peace Lily is that this particular inflorescence, the flower lasts for a very long time, easily from 3 months to 6 months. If proper care is given, where not much of water has been spilled on them, they do last very long. Apart from this particular colorization, there are so many other ones that I've ever come across. Some are actually the miniature types and some of them are actually giants, but I actually like them. It's just a matter of the white flowers in the background of the green, which makes a lot of contrast when it comes to group factor when you plant them together in a condensed setting. When it comes to plant care, this particular one loves to be in bright shaded area, away from direct hot blazing sun, but in a way receive just an adequate lighting, especially during the morning and evening times. I must say this is actually a very thirsty plant, lacking which of water you will actually find burnt leaves or even sometimes faded and withered portions of the leaves parts, which may be unsightly to look at. The soil composition must be fast draining, otherwise it fall into root rot. Here you can see far more matured portion of the seed pod. Again, I have mentioned to you, I have not really seen them forming seeds. In a way, eventually the whole thing will just dry and fall off, which in turn then you really will not see much of a difference. It'll appear to be more like a dried leaf portion. Other than that, they may require pruning time to time in order to bear a lot of inflorescence. Apart from seed pod, I can say that propagation is very much successful in root division. So this particular one is what I meant concerning dried leaves, dried inflorescence. As you can notice here, this inflorescence has totally dried out and may require pruning. I almost missed out a very important main factor here when it comes to variegated leaves. I want to mention to you that when it comes to peace lily, their variegated leaves are actually unstable in means of where at most they will revert back to the green colorization. So the trick here to keep the variegation is to trim off the green ones first. That way it will actually retain all those variegated colors on their leaves. However, the gardener here is not so much concerned about those variegated colors, so it is just left it as it is for nature to take its course, whichever that comes first in their colors. Of course, there will be some signs of one or two will be showing a strong colorization in their variegation, but in most cases a lot of it will just revert back to green. Here you can actually see the big huge tree trunk, I wouldn't say tree trunk, a big trunk of the peace lily here, which has been cultivated for so many years and it has actually fallen down, and you can also see a lot of the pups has been actually appearing by the root ball. Digging up these pups from with the roots will actually ensure a good propagation for another location or even in potted plants. Other than that, basic care and cultivation is very much similar like most of the indoor plants, where the care and cultivation is very much uniform. I must also say that I'm actually intrigued that not everything that is being explained or shared in the internet actually is true. Like for example, I have actually planted this indoors in a room setting where it's quite dark, and I've actually placed a water container underneath the potting media, hoping that it will thrive. Sad to say that the leaves tend to turn burnt by half the size, and the plant sort of like withering and not really looking good. So in a way to say that this is a dark shaded living plant indoors and all that, it's sort of, for me, it's overrated. Again, this is basically my point of view in my personal opinion and experience. Somehow I find that they do okay and well in the outdoor setting with much of a bright light area, and again they do require a lot of light for them to bloom. So as I said, that if you say that this is a shade loving plant where they can actually thrive in dark shaded area, I believe that is purely overrated. Finally, I've come to the end of my video. Do share your comments or what you think of what I've actually shared here, and if you can, please do subscribe for any of this kind of my videos here, which I will share some story or intriguing thoughts which will be slightly different for your viewing pleasure. So see you again, catch you in my next video, and hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.